hooking up the power cord to the trailer. We have this inlet here. We unscrew the cap, lift it up. We want to slide the cord in place and turn to lock it. And then we have this locking ring. So we want to spin the locking ring into place so it's tight. Once we do that, now we have a good connection there. This was a 50 amp service, so if you're at a campground that only has 30 amp service, you can use an adapter to go from 50 amp down to 30 amps. Keep in mind that 30 amp service is all you'll have for the trailer, even though you have a 50 amp trailer. You could do it the opposite. If you have a 30 amp trailer and you only have a 50 amp plug, you can get a adapter to go up, but again, you're only going to have 30 amp service because that's all the trailer has at that point. The Classic comes standard with 50 amp service, and the breaker panel is behind this panel here. So if we grab a hold of this panel, we can pull forward. This panel comes completely off. We turn this little knob here and open the door up. In our system here, we have 50 amp service. We got our main breaker here with 50 amps. To the left leg, we have the black circuit, which is 50 amps this way. And to the right, we have the red circuit, which is 50 amps this way. We essentially have a 100 amp service when we're plugged into the 110 with the 50 amp cord, because we keep the 50 amp separated and do not combine it as into 220. Now we have a GFI breaker here, which controls all of your areas that might maybe get wet, like your galley, your dinette, your lavatory, your outside outlets, those type of things, to help for a safeguard. So if those were to trip, you want to turn the breaker off and then back on. There is also a test button here. If I push that when we're plugged in, that'll actually make the breaker trip at that point, and then you can turn it back on. Keep in mind when you have a trailer with 30 amp service that you can use more power than what's available. So we have 30 amp service, your air conditioner is 16 amps, your converter is 5 to 8 amps, your refrigerator is 5 to 8 amps. If I were to have those on and then turn on the microwave, which is additional 13 amps, I will go over that 30 amp threshold, which will cause one of these breakers to trip. You'll hear a pop sound and something might not work, like your air conditioner breaker might trip or your main breaker might trip. Simply go into this breaker box, turn the breakers off, and then turn them back on. That'll reset the trip breaker, and then we want to make sure we turn off some of the components so we're not running everything at once.